hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Hit as hard as life. Now, if you know what you're worth, then go out and get what you're worth. But you gotta be willing to take the hits and not pointing fingers saying you ain't where you want to be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that, and that ain't you. You're better than that. I'm always gonna love you no matter what. No matter what happens. You're my son, you're my blood. You're the best thing in my life. But until you start believing in yourself, you ain't gonna have a life. Don't forget to visit your mother.
What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? Can everybody hear me all right? Type 1 if you can hear me.
All good, bud.
Nice, 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 nice. What's up, Ryan?
What's going on?
How's everybody's weekend? Hope everybody's rested. It's been hectic for me. Sorry for like short notice. I usually send out a reminder ahead of time. But you know, my folks came to visit and their granddaughter and all that stuff. So it's been a hectic day. But so where are you all guys from? Like, I see a lot of new people. I see a lot of savages here, so that's always nice. What's up, Legend? Yeah, Lisbon. Wow, Italy. Yay. I appreciate you guys for those of you who logging in from Europe and London, because you know, it's probably late. So, Great Britain. Always appreciated. You guys that make it all worth it. All right, so couple of housekeeping items. For those of you who wanted to go to the boot camp but could not, we have set up a group. So if you want to, you know, just pay the cost of the boot camp, me and Mike recorded everything, and we'll give you the recording and all the case files. Me and Mike Azevedo did the boot camp 2 weeks ago on Saturday. For those who don't know, or was it last week? I can't remember. It was last week on Saturday, bro.
Yeah, last week, 9 days ago.
Last week, that's it. And then if you are named iPhone, please change your name to something more presentable. If you're here to troll, kindly leave, because I don't have time for that. Neither does everyone here who came to learn or came to see the market overview. So, you know, besides, what are you here for? If you're here to troll, like, seriously, do something better with your life. Okay, so I decided to do something sort of different today besides the market overview. We're going to go over a couple of pairs that we successfully sniped last week, but I just did a case study on gold, which like blew my head because you could have literally doubled, if not tripled, your account just trading gold last week, which didn't give much movement. Today was crazy, but I don't trade Mondays, so I didn't really trade, just a little bit, but not really. But I am hoping to completely destroy gold this week again. So I wanted to go forward test with everyone, by show you basically what I saw, by playing it back, so that everybody can see not just just the back testing stuff, but actually how it played out. So I think that'd be helpful. If you do have questions at any time, just feel free to post them inside the Q&A section, and we'll get to them. If you're watching on YouTube, the same thing. Like just post them, and Ryan will bring him into the chat. Okay, so let me see.
And I'll be filtering those questions on YouTube as well. So
iPhone, change your name in 10 seconds, because I'll kick you. Okay. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, goodbye. I said I did. Okay. All right. Okay, I'm not sharing my screen. Am I recording? I'm recording. Okay, good. All right, now we can go. Everybody see my screen? All right. Awesome. One second, that's the wrong screen. All right, so one thing that, and I know whoever was on Mike's and Sam's stream, you guys already saw Sunday, the EJ trade was absolutely sick, because on the extreme, or one of the extremes, we were able to catch it right here, and then it went up, and I did a beautiful post on Instagram, and then I went away, and it came back all the way down and clapped me out in profit, and then I missed this. And by the time I woke up, because I didn't have a second limit set for some reason, and when I woke up, it was already 100-something pips in profit. So needless to say, I need a new computer screen. So if you guys are donating for computer screens, go ahead. I was very mad. I hate that when that happens. But anyway, no, jokes aside, it was a interesting accumulation here, and you can see highlighted whatever, and then it came all the way to actually tap the area where I was thinking it might reverse, and it had a beautiful reaction, but now it's showing more bullishness again on a higher time frame. EJ is still bullish. Like if you look at daily, obviously we don't see anything till here. This is what is maintaining bullishness, so we're super bullish. On the 4-hour, technically this is what was maintaining bullishness here, and we're good. We're good. So we mitigated, showed signs of accumulation. Now this technically is the extreme over here. This little doji in there is the extreme of this whole thing. And then coming in here, we can see this candle here. So, the 80-50% could work. But there's way too much stuff going on over here, higher. So it definitely needs some kind of schematic to develop here in order to take that. Then there was a trade on AJ. And this was a perfect divergence with gold, or divergence with AUD/USD, I think. Was it? Yeah, that's what it was. Divergence with AUD/USD and Wyckoff accumulation. So if you can see what happened, let's walk you through it, right? We had on a smaller time frame. I thought actually accumulation happened earlier at first, but on a smaller time frame, was it like 15 or 5 minutes? Yep, 5 minutes here. 1, 2, 3 drives. I marked this out as AR, SCARST at the time, and then up thrust action, and then I was looking for this to be AST in phase B, which if you know I missed the entry on my extreme over here, but here was a small fractal reaccumulation on like 2 minutes, I think it was, I believe. Yeah, I remember last week. And yep. Yeah, I didn't label it, but you can pretty much see 1, 2, 3 drives, break a structure, retest, boom. So so that is where I bought after that. And I think I got out right here. That was a nice little snack last week. But then more importantly, this was the divergence with audio SD, like I said. So, and on a higher scale, how you can see if this was marked as ST and then upthrust action, and then if this is STB, one or two things need to happen, right? One thing that could happen is we need to break internal structure and the range, which in this case is what we needed to break, and we did it here. And afterwards, you just wait for retracement into some kind of IFC, which in this case was here. But if you couldn't catch this here, there's always this that could have given you re-entry perfectly there. But the fact that there was divergence, you know me, you know what I do. So, you know what I do. See, we're moving down. Then we're moving down. And then we're moving up, right? Moving down, moving down, moving down, moving down. This one moving down, and then all of a sudden diverges twice. Why is the second one better than the first one? Is because we have a break of structure before coming back to mitigate. So this was a perfect, wait for this candle to close, engulfed, get in here, or get in a retracement, hold it, and you are, could be as 1 to 50 or something up till now. So it's pretty awesome trade, easy trade of divergence. That divergence indicator noticed as well. Also, this first divergence happened at 4 o'clock, so the spreads, I'm assuming, were huge. But the second divergence happened, but Wyckoff was easy regardless. But the second divergence actually happened in New York session, so that one was easier to clap if you trade during New York like myself. Okay, so the next one was NAS, or the last one I should say. That one was clean and then nasty. First it was clean and then it was nasty. So the first trade I caught here was actually counter trend. Well, it was with the trend, but was with the overall trend, but counter small trend, I should say. So I think it was US 30. So yeah, it was okay. Once again, we're moving up from right here. And we're moving up, and we're moving up, and we're moving up, and then we're moving up. And NASDAQ's moving down, so I sold here. It gave a reaction, came back. I kept holding. My stop loss was above there. So it actually gave me profit. And then it was perfect, easily spotted IFC right here. So I quickly hedged my position. And this was labeled completely wrong, according to that. Quickly hedged my position, got in a little bit late, a little bit right over here, not at this one, because I figured out what was going on. And then the market closed over there. Because you can't trade or you can't hold the trades of FTMO, I had to close it. So that was another nice position, nice win, you know. And then the reason it threw me off is because this ST in phase B, even though we had a signal of strength that broke structure and everything, it was just too fast for me. So I was thinking that this is actually, with the divergence, proved redistribution, and that, you know, but as I said on Friday in the chats, is that it is a good lesson that you should not marry a bias ever, right? If we need to switch our bias and understand the market is shifting order flow, you can see how the order flow shifted here, right? We were going down, going down, going down, going down, going down, and all of a sudden, we're now mitigating from the bottom, mitigating from the bottom, mitigating from the bottom, mitigating from, right? See, so now we're buying. So no longer selling. Order flow shifted. Got to adjust yourself, not be like, okay, this is what I think, and that's all it is. Market doesn't care what you think. Nobody gives a shit what you think. Just got to react, not predict. Don't ever predict. Which is why I kind of stopped myself, even with my squad, sharing ideas, because, you know, you have people that rely on those ideas and just look at the ideas and, okay, this is the, you know, you reset to sell, let's fucking sell. That doesn't make any sense. You have to react to what market gives you. At the time, it was a perfect sell. But, you know, overall structure is hella bearish. But we're in a bullish retracement, you see. So let's say this is maintaining bearishness. It made it down. This is maintaining its bearishness. Did we break this low? No, we didn't. So whatever we're doing here doesn't really matter. We could break this if all we, you know, for all I care. So right now we're in retracement. So what's the question there? Oh, you answered it?
It's basically asking, how do you figure out which one to take? How do you determine a buy versus a sell on divergence? Which one are you buying? Which one are you selling? And I answered as far as market structure and order flow.
Yeah. So you always want to technically take divergences. Here, I'm gonna delete it. I don't need it anymore. So you want to take divergences with the trend, meaning, like, let's say, you know, we're on a bearish trend right now, right? So market is coming up. So is US 30. Let's say it's coming up right now on, I don't know, 15 minutes, right? So we see this coming up, right? So if I wanted to do a divergence in 15-minute with SAP or US 30, we can see that it's making higher highs, right? From over here, we're making higher highs. So let's say market goes over here and makes a higher high, and then SAP makes a higher high. Well, what happens then? You have a retracement, and then let's say SAP makes a higher high again, but NASDAQ, during that retracement, breaks structure and then comes back to mitigate. Now, because you're bearish, this means we're done with the retracement and we're about to hit the next expansion leg to the downside. So that's a perfect divergence you want to see. And then you wait for engulfing candle or Wyckoff distribution, which usually this is Wyckoff distribution by that time. And so you have a UT, and then you have an LPS, where here you would have a UT and you have a UTAD. So one has UTAD, one has LPS. You take the one that's mitigating, the LPS, obviously, and sell it, for instance, or LPSY. Sorry. Okay. So is that clear? That cool? That answers the question. Hopefully. All right. You guys are ready for this? Okay, cool. Picasso into the studio. Where the hell is my gold? See gold? Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Who wants to get into this puppy? Dude, I'm gonna be proud of that. Oh, somebody posted on your fridge. I need my signature developed on this. This is sickness. So yeah. Okay. So let's dive into it, unless there's pressing questions. So I was so excited. I want to show everyone. Okay, so I'm gonna go all the way.
He's been talking about this for 12 hours.
Sorry, Ryan. You're the only person. You're the only friend I have. Is what it is.
That's right.
Sad but true. Okay. So we got here. When we got here during the week. So first thing first, right? We know that gold is bearish as hell has been, right? So if you go to the daily structure, we can see. And by the way, I'm going to share this whole case study, screenshot by screenshot. Hopefully you don't have to suffer through all those lines on my case study. I'll make it clean, but I'll share it. It takes some time to develop. Anyway, so we know that we are slowly walking our way down. Where? To these equal lows, right? Here's the equal lows. Here's the liquidity. Here's the liquidity. We're going to 1500 level slowly. Okay, so we knew that coming into last week, right? And so when we go to 4 hour, it's sort of creepy watching everything here without anything marked out, without candles. That'd be sick if you knew the future. So anyway, so you come to the 4 hour, and it doesn't give you really anything new, except for you see some kind of what could be the break the ice thing and distribution. So you already should have a bias. You also see this huge black candle and this doji here, right? So you go to 1 hour, and that was some divergence with AU earlier. But you get to 1 hour. So right away, what I saw, and that's what I marked, I put a pending over here, right, onto this order block. What's an order block? The last candle gets engulfed and then bounce. Now you can get fancy and go 50 and 80% like Mike does. That's your thing. That's not my thing. My thing is precision on 1 minute and 15 seconds, but 50, 80% works for you. That's cool. I'm cool with that. I like that. Anyway, so go to 15 minutes, and now I can see a little bit more clearly what happened, right? So we had Wednesday FOMC thing. We have, or whatever it was, ginormous spike up, and then all the way down, broke structure on the 15 minute, right? It broke structure to the downside, and then we have this gap to fill. So I am observing every Sunday and Monday, hence not trading today. But right away, what I see is that we're just dying on a Sunday, whatever this was, 6 p.m. For some reason, gold is just selling off. Go to 5 minutes. I can see how strong this is during Asia, right? And as template usually has it, and what I'm talking about is ICT, Asian range templates. Anyway, so as some of you might know, some might not. If early Asia, we have a push down, typically, not always, but typically London will continue the direction. So as you see the okay, so on 5 minutes or less, on 5 minutes, I right away marked out this area here. This last imbalance here is its last candle. So you see, once again, the order block is the last candle that gets engulfed with imbalance, right? So here is that candle. That candle is getting engulfed right here. Here's the imbalance between this wick and this wick right there. Awesome. So I marked that up and I put the sell limit there, right? Forget it. Pending right there. Stop loss on the wick. Awesome. It's still here on 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 1 minute. You can see the actual candle, this last candle here. This box is in the way. Well, there's a wick, but the candle that gets engulfed is right here. So you could probably put the stop loss right here, right? Put the stop loss right here if you want to be safe and you want to reduce your stop loss to like 10 points on gold. Anyway, so we're far away from there, but then you start looking at what's going on. Again, I'm not trading at this day, but let's see what happens. So we're broke the structure one more time over here and developing some kind of nice distribution with this being a UTAD, right? All right, so taking liquidity here, that being UTAD, all the stuff, great. Then we broke structure here. Obviously, this is Asian range. I don't trade this. Look what happens during Asia, right? What I say, Asia coming down. What is London doing? Keeps coming down, right? But then, I mean, obviously, during Asia, I don't trade, but it for some reason just tanked, right? I don't know why it tanked. Tanked, breaking all kinds of structure here, taking all this internal liquidity. And then we start looking for something that starts looking like the schematic, right? So if we go even smaller to 3 minutes, what does it look like? 1, 2, 3 drives. That's accumulation, right? So we got the automatic rally, the ST, the upthrust action, the STB. This is only STB if we break, well, at least retrace halfway and have a spring, or break internal structure and then break the range. Did we break the range? No. So because we didn't break the range, personally, I did not get into the position. I was expecting a spring because we didn't break this AR, at least what I marked out as AR. Again, I can be wrong. It's okay. All I'm saying is that I didn't get into this position. And, but if in doubt that this is accumulation, let's go to relative strength index. Notice how as we are making lower lows, we're making higher lows on the relative strength index. Before you ask, my settings are 21 for the length and open, high, low, close divided by 4 for the source. That's the only thing that I changed, and I saved it as default. So as that basically says, 21 is the period that I want to look at, 21 candles, and I want to include the wicks. So selling Climax, ST, and STB, 3 drives. At the same time, we are moving up. So that is a confirmed accumulation, and we come later. Okay, what's the question? Yes, for STB, we must break both, but this is minor sign of strength when we don't break both, but this is not good enough for me. So STB is still STB if it retraces 50% and then has a spring. That still counts as STB. Also ask yourself the question, we're playing with the lows or we're playing with the highs? We're playing with the lows. If we're playing with the lows and everything on the top stays equal highs, that means we're playing with the lows so we can break the highs, which is another confirmation for accumulation, right? So we're good, but I missed this. That's okay. There's gonna be plenty of stuff. So boom, 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 boom. We're moving higher, moving higher. Stop this. Okay, cool. So then we start doing this, and you have to go to 1 minute to actually see what's going on, because the price action is garbage because it's so tiny and small. But the same thing remains. Okay, so we had the selling climax, we had the automatic rally, then we have a bunch of liquidity secondary tests of supply. We have the STB, and then we have a signal of strength. So here is where we break what I marked as AR. Even if AR was here, we break that here. So we would expect to get in here somewhere. If you get in here, however, they done something nasty, and they actually cranked it lower just a little bit, in which case this is not a test, but this is a spring, and then we expect to test it for that, which sometimes happens. So as the story has it, I got stopped out, and then I was mad, so I got back in. Don't do that at home. But as I'm gonna trade only gold. So we broke structure again, confirming bullishness. Here we come to the supply demand area, and after a few bounces, we sail away slowly. Sail away. Let me go to 5 minutes. 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes. Oh, damn. We're only on Monday, and I don't usually trade till Tuesday. But this is me talking about how I back tested, or forward tested, I should say. All right, so nothing. Now, remember here, we marked out the area, as I said, right there when we started, and then what I thought was UTAD right here. So just remember these areas for the future. Okay, so if this was the first one, and then this is a low, and this is a high, and this is a low, this is what maintains bearishness just in this 5 minute small time frame. So on this small time frame, the extreme that maintains bearishness is right here. What's an order block? It's the last candle that gets engulfed with imbalance. Right here, that white candle. That is what maintains bearishness on 5 minutes. Okay, and we had all of this price action going on perfectly nicely. So we're moving on, right? So now you could have also remember this spring that I thought, so this is how crazy it is. It was like an every time frame, Wyckoff. All right, so this spring that after STB broke the signal of strength, or had the signal of strength, that spring needed to be tested. That's where the market came. So you could put a order over there. You could put an order over there and get in on the buy here if you wanted to. Again, during Asia, so not me. We're moving right along. This is where it gets freaking saucy. So, what's the distribution? Boom. Look at where it hit. Right in that area that I just marked up for the extreme on a 5 minute that holds this bearishness. Why do I think this is distribution? Well, look, 1, 2, 3 drives. Well, look, we are making higher highs. RSI is making lower highs. Oh shit. What do we do now? If you miss this entry, we wait for the break of structure. All right. Cool. There's the retest, by the way. Another entry. We finally broke structure. So broke structure, we could expect it here if it comes back. If it doesn't, which in this case it doesn't, we come back to this. And what do? Once again, 3 minutes. It's clearer, maybe. We got the selling climax. Maybe it was 5 minutes. We got the selling climax, the automatic rally, the ST, the upthrust, the STB. Right? Moving down. Moving up. Perfect. Coming back, coming back, coming back, coming back. Do we ever break the AR, the range? No, we don't. So, but we did retrace 50%. So what am I waiting for? I'm waiting for a spring. Thank you very much. Let's wait for that spring. Boom. We got the spring. All right. What happens after the spring? After the spring, we just need an internal structure break, which on 5 minutes happened to be this UA, let's say. And then we can, then we can get in on a test, which is right here. Or if we have a test inside the supply and demand area, we want to see a schematic develop in here at the level of the supply and demand. Otherwise, we want the buy from this extreme. Awesome. So we go here and we got that signal of strength after the spring, and then we do the creek. Boom. We test this area of supply and demand. We jump across the creek. We come back to the creek, and then you can buy. But, so, you could have gotten here, got this. You could have bought in here and just got this reaction if you want. Whew. I've been backtesting this for a while. So then, okay, there's another schematic that develops here, which is perfect on, I believe, 1 minute. Yeah. So once again, selling climax, AR, ST, upthrust, STB. You know, there's not really much to see on this. But regardless, here's your signal of strength that breaks the range. It's kind of hard to see, sorry guys. And then you come back to this order block. What's the order block? Last candle gets engulfed in balance. Bounce off here and come up. So you made a new high once again. Right back into another schematic, which is absolutely great. UA is most valid if it exits. No, not UA, man. UA is just an upthrust, and it can be confused with a UT, right? So UA is just a good confirmation that we are forming an accumulation, but it's signal of strength, which is different from UA because it occurs after secondary test in phase B or a spring. That's where it's most valid, right? So you want to look for break of the range to the top, which is a signal of strength in a very fast manner. And then you want the thing to come back to either supply and demand or to test your spring or do to the last point of support, which is usually supply and demand area if it was an STB. So we're back here. here's the good example again. We have the STB, and we come up to, now this was interesting, right? So what is this? Wednesday now? Wednesday. Now watch. So I saw the fact that as you move down and you have this STB, notice how the RSI also goes down, which indicates that it's actually the correct direction, or possibly is correct direction. So then I was right away thinking that makes absolute no sense. Although this is Asia, so I don't care. But why it makes no sense is because we just spent all this time accumulating and basically buying all this accumulation. And so it doesn't make any sense to, after that, have distribution right away. And it kind of confirms right here, because what follows next is we got the very controlled creek, right? You see the creek? So if we see the creek, then this is a failed distribution kind of, and it turns into reaccumulation again. So we had the accumulation and then the break of the range, but then this kind of confused me. So I was like, now we're distributing, but it makes no sense to distribute because we just accumulated. So we're confirming what I was saying with this creek. So now you got to wait for the creek, or you can trade the creek if you want. I don't know. So we have this creek, we have the creek, blah, 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 blah. But look at this craziness, right? So what is this on the creek? Does everybody know what that is? That's a shakeout, right? We shake out, then we break the creek. Notice where this shakeout goes, though. Remember this spring? Remember what we marked up? We marked up, we said that if it was the spring, all we need to do is break the internal structure. We don't have to have a signal of strength, but we did. But then we only came back to supply and demand, and you could have traded. I said you could trade this creek, you could trade the backup of the creek and get this. But what did I say? This is the spring, and on the spring you see the beautiful order block. Last candle gets to go for the bounce, right? So where does it go? Right here. To test this order block. And then what happens? Woo! We're flying. Now this is what blew my mind. So you could get this entry if you just had had the order block marked up, and let's say you missed this and you didn't trade any of this, but you had this extreme marked up and you just had a pending on the extreme with stop loss underneath the wick. You're fine. You got into this. Guess where it went up to? Do you remember at the very beginning, before I started the whole thing, I said this is a distribution. Just remember this area. And I put a pending over here later, but over here, because we grabbed the liquidity, and I said this is the UTAD on the distribution, and that's the last candle that got engulfed with imbalance. Right? I even showed on 1 minute that's like a white candle with a wick. This is sickening, boys and girls. Boom. Perfectly in there. Perfectly in there. It depends on your stop loss. If your stop loss was all the way over the wick, it wouldn't even matter, but it hits the order block perfectly. you know, if this was your stop loss, it came close. Didn't really hit it, but came close. And then what happens? Well, we come back down. And even though, so this is where I would have lost. So I would have won this one because I always put pendings on all my extremes. So I have a pending on extreme here. Boom, got in. Had a pending over there. Boom, got in. So you get this, then you get that. And if you decided that this was the jump of the creek, you would have been murdered over here, but it wouldn't have mattered because one, you took partials on this. I hope you take partials. You took partials on this, right? Two, you got in with a house entry, or what I call a house entry over here. And at the most, you would take partials here and you lose one entry here. But at the same time, you win a crap ton from this entry there. And then you go into Thursday, Friday shenanigans, which was pretty awesome as well. So here we did the same thing that we did earlier, which is you found your, you know, asset selling, I think it was 3 minutes that I was looking at here. You found selling climax and AR, or maybe one. Is it 1 minute? Maybe 1 minute. So you found the selling climax, super fast reaction to automatic rally, AST, upthrust action. You got a bunch of secondary tests over here formed, right? A ton of them. Right, then you got this. Uh-oh, I'm frozen. Come on, trading view. There we go. All right, then we got this STB, but we're in Asian range, keep in mind. So this is where it did this stupid thing again. On STB, it breaks the range. Boom, gives you signal of strength. But this is what's important to understand where the schematic has formed as far as time, right? Almost 100% of the time, if from my back testing, if you have a schematic like this with STB forming during Asia inside the Asian range, that is asking for S-whooping. I would never in a million years put a buy over here if this happened in Asian range. Right? So I would rather miss the trade than do that. And so you gotta wait for the spring. And it comes. Here's the spring. Now, I was watching the schematic on 3 or 2 minutes. So for me, this spring, this is a break of internal structure here. So now you can get in on this test, wait for the next break of structure, and get in on the next test, right? Or whatever you want to do, right? So you can have a bunch of entries here. New York session. Okay, so then once again, acting confusingly. What, 5 minutes? This was today, I think. So last night I had this charted. So I just set a small position, set in where? Last candle that gets engulfed with imbalance, right here. Imbalance right above as well. So it tapped me in. I had a little profit, never hurts. And then it went, I think it goes up from the, or it goes, okay, yeah. So just had a little profit, but very little because it went right back. I put stop loss and profit because I knew this is not going to be good. So basically nothing happened here. I just got my money back. $2.50, I think it was. $2.50. Anyway, so then this morning happened, which was freaking crazy. And I already didn't label it, but this was pure structure play. I could not see Wyckoff here. If somebody could mark this up, that's nice. I don't see very clear anything here. This looked like the creek, so I thought this is going to be a shakeout. So I was waiting for a shakeout. We were trading with Sunny in the morning, and I was waiting for shakeout, and instead of shakeout, it went it just died. So I was waiting for shakeout, jump the creek, and then I would catch an entry, but that didn't happen. So if it doesn't happen, I don't care, right? So, but again, it landed somewhere that was marked up before, wasn't it? Yeah, it landed right into this previous, before last week accumulation area perfectly, right? So now I'm gonna close this to see. This to me could be a start of a schematic. It's just a start. We had the selling climax and automatic rally and bunch of STs here. So right now we're doing some crap like no price action, whatever. We might be doing a schematic, but again, Asian range, I don't care. There's liquidity here, and we're still bearish as hell. So I do think this is going to be a redistribution, but it could be an accumulation. So if this is a redistribution, I would be looking. I already have a sell limit sitting where those two lines are right here at this supply and demand here, because this is where we had a whatever this was, but this is what's holding bearishness now on a 5-minute. So it's not a big position. Now, if I go to a clean chart now, look at this like that. If I see accumulation again, there's all these things that need to play out. We need to break the range. The RSI needs to line up. It needs to be nice price action that significant of or indicative of the accumulation. I would take this. If it's starts playing with the highs like this, that's not accumulation. I want it to play with the lows and then shake out, break the range, come back, as opposed to start coming up like this, up and down, because that to me is, asking, think about Greek backwards, which is, the ice coming into the previous IFC to go down. We're still bearish. But if you think about on a higher time frame, like 4 hour, we had this that led to that. Oh, Jesus, hang on. Okay, one second. There. All right, cool. 1 hour. Right. If we see this, that was maintaining bearishness overall on like 4 hour. So, but on 1 hour, we started this accumulation here, and this led to that. That led to this, and then this is a bunch of nothing. And this is what was maintaining bullishness. So we got in right into it. And if we have accumulation here, it makes sense to at least go up to here, if not make a higher high. So if this gives a nice schematic, I want to find an extreme in this area, if I can, on a small time frame, maybe 5 minutes. Maybe you already got there. Yeah, this is. Yeah, right there. Right, this is where I have a buy limit. I remember I said it in the morning. My buy limit is 1704, I think. 1704.50 maybe. Yeah, so this is the candle right here. This last candle this white candle got engulfed with imbalance. So 1703.90, I guess, to 1702, about almost 20 points. You can do the 50% 80 if you want and find confluence. That's what. Let's find some confluence. Can't leave you hanging if we've been doing golf for so long. All right. So see this black candle, white candle. So this white candle, if we go this white 50% of white candle here. There's no imbalance there. There's no balance there. It makes me want to just get in right here at the top. I see. 2 minutes. Oh, there you go. 2 minutes. Got some nice candle here. That probably is 80%. And 1 minute's got the 50%. So that's cool to get in here. Here, or here are all fine entries. You could stack if you want. So that's where I'd be waiting for a buy. Even though that's counter trend. But I would like for it to create a schematic and, you know, slowly get in there. Or if, you know, I'm not trading London. So like if I miss this, then I'll be looking for sells here and here. Remember, I still have the, hang on, let me just delete everything. Okay, I still have definite. So we mitigated from here. That was that crazy spike. I still have a sell limit sitting right there. Still do. And then this is all clean. There might be something in here. Sure is. So I also have a sell limit on this nice. Look at that. You know, what is that called? Who like knows candle patterns? Like it's like a hammer on top and then a third like big candles, wick, and then another candle. This is a name for this pattern. I forgot.
Rising star, some nonsense.
Rising evening star. There you go.
Evening star. All right, there it
Evening
is.
star. Yeah. So that evening star, right here, is where my sell limit is. This is where my house is. My damn house is over here. Now we're far away from there. We're very far away from it. Now that this happened, we're far away. But that is our lag now. 5 minutes, that is our lag. All of this is bullshit. Excuse me. All of that is liquidity. All of that is liquidity now. So I'm over there, you know, decisional. If we have a schematic over here, if we can get a schematic over here, great. That is awesome. Otherwise, I have a sell limit there. Now here, because we are in a bullish area, 1 hour is bullish. 4 hour, I am not sure about that. Four hour is bearish to me. 4 hours bearish to me. Because I mean, again, even if we're like bullish right now, like we're in a scandal here, and if we're bullish, that's fine. Overall, we're still bearish. So 6 hour daily, all that is bearish, and that is the high. You know, so this is bullish, which is why right now it makes sense to have something happen here or something happen here. If there's no schematic though, because that's a slingshot candle. So there's no schematic. I can't take the buy. If there's a schematic, I'll take a buy. And then I will never be afraid to put my extreme if I'm in the buy already. If I'm all this in a buy, even if I lose, who cares? If I don't, then it's just so much better. I'm playing ping pong. I do play ping pong. Some people don't. Mike doesn't. Okay. Right. That's how I trade. What? 4-hour legs, please? I mean, right now, this is what your 4-hour leg looks like. This leg hasn't formed yet. But this could go here, and so this would be like this. Like all of this is not really structured. Not really leg structure, I guess, for me. I mean, you can say that, okay, this is the leg here, but this is just internal. This is order flow, right? Order flow. If we have a reaction here, that's just an order flow. The lag is here. To me, Now, if this breaks that, then this is the lag. But until this breaks this is complex pullback. Up to here. 4 hour, right? This is just a retracement, a complex pullback retracement until here. Okay, so yeah. Because this is what you got to think. This is what you got to think about. None of this crap broke this high. This high is what pushed this price down to here. So this cannot be a lower high because it did not, it did not break the low, and it cannot be, well, it's not a higher high because it didn't break the high, and it's not a lower high because it didn't break the low. So this is just an order flow shift, and now we're bullish. But if this breaks that, now the order flow shifted again, and you should expect a mitigation here. But the structure is bearish, man. To me, the structure is all about legs, and the structure is so bearish, it's crazy. There's nothing bullish about it at all. But on a smaller time frame, we don't care, because on a 15-minute, 5-minute, we're definitely well, no. on a 50-minute, we're now super bearish kind of thing. So on a 50-minute, we're now super bearish. Right. Yeah. But if we don't break this, we can easily make a higher high. So that's why we're watching the price so that we can have a schematic here. But right now, you can't really tell what's going on here. You can't really see anything. This is crap price action, right? So right now, if I were to mark this up, this is all I can do is say this is selling climax, and then you got the AR, and this is all bunch of liquidity. But let's say this is, I can't even say this. Well, okay, this is secondary task, but this is just liquidity now. And because I don't really see anything, like I said, that's why I have 1704.50 and 1703.50 as my areas, because it would make sense that maybe we will do something like this, and then have a STB and a spring. Have an STB here and a spring there. We'll see. Not rushing at all. That's why I wait for London. Wait for London, see what it does with Asian range, and then and then react in New York. It's very kind of simple. If London takes the lows and comes back to go higher than the range, then New York you expect to just mitigate some order block that created in London. If London breaks the lows and keeps going down, then you expect New York to be bought lower than London open and go the opposite direction for a buy. It's pretty much if that, then this. All right, so let's go. What do we want to analyze now? Was that helpful walking through the gold? I think if anybody even caught like 2 or 3 of those entries that I discussed, you can rest assured you're passing all kinds of FTMOs. All right, good. I'm glad you said that. All right, cool, cool. GJ and GU also had a divergence. Forgot about that. Where did we have a divergence? No, I don't remember. Ah, right here. Super clean. And Wyckoff and divergence and super clean. Yep, we had a divergence here. As we're moving down, and then we're moving down, and then actually we could have spotted it here. Nope, never mind. Could have spotted it here like this. It would still be okay for that, but then it got clapped with this. If you wait through the Asian session, you know, that is a perfect, perfect divergence there. But you know, of course, this is a creek, this is a jump, this is come back to supply and demand area. You do whatever you like, you know. Either way, it works. All right, so what did we have today? Let's look at the daily. Look at that daily divergence, dude. We should be bearish on GU, just so you know. We should be bearish. We should be so bearish on GU, which means both of them will start coming down. But GU is much clearer that it's on a downtrend now. Okay, we're still bullish on GJ structure wise on daily. Definitely. I don't even see any structure formed until all the way here. Right, maybe here. That's it. 4 hours. 4 hours still bullish as hell too. Like literally no structure formed. Well, we can say, yeah, I don't see anything. We're just super bullish on GJ and bearish on GU. Okay, so let's stick with one thing. I do believe we could reverse though. Yeah, so this is where the divergence was for the buy. Was this a distribution now? If this is a distro, and it does make sense, and we're waiting for a test, aren't we? So what can we see? Ooh. Hang on. Add liquidity. Order flow is still bullish here, but I think we should be looking for a sell in here. To test it, man, this right here is where I'll be looking for a sell right there. This is the only place. I want to see some confluence. Let me see. Yeah, looks good to me. So that right there is the area where this is the UTAD in a test. This could be the extreme from which it play out. So of course, yeah, that would be the area that I would sell from. So okay, so if this is my thing again. If we have two order blocks, if we have one decisional order block, and then we have an extreme, so I always put a pending on extreme. I don't wait for a schematic on an extreme. But if we have a decisional, I will always wait for a schematic. So if this is a schematic already, and we had the UTAD, then the test will just go boop and come out, right? The test will just be a wick, just like in gold. Now, if we had a slingshot candle that broke the structure, like for instance, here was the slingshot candle right here that broke this structure. When a lot of people that just learned smart money would try to sell over here, right? I would never sell over here with a pending. I would need a schematic to form over here, right? And then I would sell on the schematic because that's a slingshot candle. This is a loan distribution schematic, and now there is a hole there that the last liquidity was taken at, and they're in drawdown. So that to me is the pending area where I could snipe. So if it's a pending like this, see how high it is at pending? Yeah. So if it's a pending, it's just a pending. I will just put a limit, right? But this is sort of counter trend because you see how freakishly bullish we are. So it'd be much better at this point to wait for a break of structure and come back into the area that led to break of structure or the lag, right? So here right now, this on 15-minute, we got the high, the low, the high. So you could expect a schematic in here or a buy of extreme as well. So it depends what the market does. So like here, I really like this buy of the extreme. Right here, I would need a schematic. Like this to get higher. But if it right now moves, and again, like if it it's at liquidity. So two scenarios. If they need more liquidity built up to break through all of this liquidity, they will come lower here, develop a schematic, take out the fake liquidity, and then explode up, right? Then probably chill over here and come even higher. But if this is all they need, they will just start coming up into here, and then you'd look for a compression here, an explosion into this, and come down. So like London open, explosion up to go down. Right? Yeah. Okay. And it's also interesting, if you look at At the same time, when it gets to, if you are out there, see, that's another thing, right? If I go to bed, okay, have a good night, Ryan.
Take care,
If I
buddy.
go to bed, and I have a POI that's kind of close, and I put a pending. But if I am sitting there and looking at the market where I can react, I don't send pendings. I don't need to, right? Because I can just click buy or sell right away where I need to. So that also, and if you have a POI, especially that you expect a schematic, and you're out there and you see at the same time when it gets into the POI and does a little bit of schematic and then forms a divergence, boom, get in. Yeah. Okay, I need to pay attention to. All right, Euro USD real quick. All right, obviously, just like with gold, we are bearish as hell, and we're just slowly moving price down. Completely opposite of DXY that has a perfect Wyckoff schematic there. That is almost, I think, in phase E now. Did I erase the goddamn labeling already? Ugh. Hang on. Yeah, I did. Oh well. Maybe it's on a different chart. Oh wait. Yeah, I'm on a different chart. Hang on. Because of that. That's why. There it is. So I was explaining to someone. You got a perfect schematic B, right? Second schematic. STB came to SOS, broke the range. LPS perfectly out of this order block, taking liquidity, came back up, did the small schematic on a small time frame, but essentially back up to the creek or back up to less point of supply, perfectly coming up. So now it's going to be a series of, back up, less point of support, back up, less point of support, back up, and just keep going. And I think the DXY is going to go all the damn way to this distribution at $100. Because look, last candle gets some Gulf band balance. Boom, right there. Last candle gets some Gulf band balance. Boom, right there. It's 2 entries. Boom. So we got a ton of work to get there, right? We're just like, this is fully formed schematic confirmed with the backup to LPS. So we're just entering phase E, and we're just gonna keep going up, coming down, going up. So where we at right now, I think we're gonna come up more probably to these equal highs at least. So that tells me not to look for any kind of buys on Euro USD and only look for sells. Knowing that, let's come back. What do we see structure wise? We see, I mean, this is still remains the same. My bias still remains the same. This was what held the bearishness. We made 2 highs for later and broke structure. Awesome. So to me, this is what led to the break of structure still, and this is just liquidity in between on 4 hours. But regardless, in 1 hour, this is the first area that I'd be looking for a sell. Is this last candle that gets some gold balance is right there. And then if it breaks this, I think it's going to go higher into this candle, or finally that extreme at 122. Highly doubt it's going to go that high. So if you see this supply and demand area, So that's where I would expect the schematic if we go up. I will never, like I said, sell from the middle of nowhere. But depending is on this candle here at 1922, 1920. 1920 and 1.12020 as well. I have higher IFC, but right now we are just not doing anything. We did not do anything today, did we? All right, so we're forming a schematic right now. It's ugly as freaking as my life. Yeah, this looks like a hot mess. So if this is indeed the accumulation, let me see where we at. Last up candle before the sell-off from your POI. What are you talking about? With last up candle before the sell-off from your POI. Ray J, what do you mean? Last candle before this. I'm confused. You mean this candle here? Or this here? Yeah, let me know the number. Tell me the number. 1.19649. 1.19649. 1.196. Man, you must be from Trade House somewhere. On what time frame? This one? Yeah, that's gonna get murdered. This is why. So if you haven't been to my stream, probably the app candle before down move is a myth. It's the true order block is the last candle gets engulfed with imbalance. It's nothing to do with the actual up move. See, I'll give you an example. Like, if this candle was like this big, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna do 50% and have 500, like 50 pips stop loss? That's crazy. So, that okay. So why? I'll try to figure out. So why would you want to sell here? Like, okay, so you're saying that, let's say the institutions are going to go in here. What did this scandal really do? Did it do anything? Meaning, like, did it go up to go down? Did it really knock anyone out? Is so up candle before the down move is relevant when it's knocking someone out, when it's grabbing some liquidity. So what did this candle really do? It didn't really do anything. Right? If this is the equal highs over here and people sell from this, it needs to go higher than that if they needed this liquidity. They didn't need this liquidity, which is why they just cranked it down. Yeah. So, but again, for me, it's okay. Here, how is this candle? This is what I say, like last candle that gets engulfed with imbalance here serves a different purpose. They were hedging and then dropped. Why? Because people's supply and demand sits at this line here. This is their supply and resistance, or support and resistance, right here. They think this is a very good support. So when they came here and it started this little bouncing, people are starting putting buys at this line, and they got killed. And where is their stop loss? If they put buys here, their stop loss goes under this wick, and they got killed, right? So that is exactly where they stash their money. So if the market comes here, takes this liquidity, comes to this candle that did the manipulation, that makes sense, along with the structure, because this is the slingshot candle that shut this down. This is all kind of liquidity that's manufactured for you to see. And then they come back, grab that liquidity, get their money, and take the market down where it's supposed to. That makes sense. But it makes absolutely no sense to sell here just because it's an up candle before the down move. Or just because it's in a gold candle means nothing. Right? It's in the middle of nowhere and sitting right before this giant liquidity. Yeah. And if you go to smaller time frame, that candle is non-existent. Just slowly got up to the demand area, and shit ton of people were selling here. This is not an institution. This is all these people that think this is resistance altogether, GME kind of thing. Reddit, let's go. This is people selling off their stuff. And the hedge funds, they don't make that much money on this. They trade on daily. This is nothing. So they have the stop losses here. That's what they're money after. So this is all a trap for later. Anyway, where was I? I was here. So where are we in the market? Oh yeah, this is no fucking way. So this is nothing. This is not really an accumulate. What are we accumulating out of? We're not accumulating out of anything. There's nothing here. Nah, it's gonna keep going. It needs to grab this liquidity and come to here. So yeah, if I'm not even looking for anything, this is a redistro. So it's just crap is what it is. I don't even see, like I said, if we somehow get up here, I would look for a distribution schematic here. I need a 3 drive thing, need to be a 1, 2, 3 break a structure, that something. Or I would look for extreme here, but I highly doubt we're gonna go up. I think we're just gonna die. There's like no entries on EU for me, so I'm abandoning it. GU I marked up last week, and we had a perfect redistro here, perfect accumulation here, but this is a failed accumulation, I think. Look at where we reacted again. Last candle that gets engulfed with imbalance. Perfectly here. Perfect reaction from the redistribution area. Broke structure, so I would like for it to come higher to in here. And my pending is all the way over there, but I think we're done. I think the area entry will come earlier, because this is pretty much break the ice thing happened. So if break the ice happened, now we need to see right there. Okay. So we need a schematic here on a smaller time frame. We need a schematic here. Yep, that's all. I would either look at schematic. So this is the distribution. Look at that. We have 1, 2, 3 drives here. That is going down. So that is a confirmed distribution. We broke everything. The range created some equal lows here. We have a fractal accumulation that's going to come over here. And so this would be perfect to wait for a schematic right there, right in this area to take a sell. We're going down. If somehow, some way we break higher, like I said, I'll be looking in this area first for a schematic and extreme over there. Yeah. But most likely we're just gonna come here, do some kind of schematic on like 5 minutes and die. Yep. This is a redistro. Not to mention we're diverging on the daily with GJ. All right, UJ, completely opposite. We're super bullish. We had an accumulation. We came up here. It would be nice. Like, honestly, it would be nice to have us come down to this area. This would be amazing. So typically, I mean, this looks like a classic accumulation. Look at this last candle, going bounce right here. This white candle is where the entry is. Okay, there's tiny imbalance there. Yep, it's also 50% of this black candle, but there's a tiny imbalance between there and there. 5 minutes. Oh, 50% of that. That's even great. That's 2 pips stop loss, dude. 2 pips stop loss. You know, buy limit. You know, make sure you factor in the spread. But that's also Asian midline. This looks amazing. This entry right here looks freaking fire. Freaking fire. We're bullish on every time frame known to man. So we just need to find a distribution right now in here. And typically, if you know the reaccumulation schematic, would have what they call buying climax and AR and ST, and then we come back to have a complex pullback into the support resistance area. Then we should have a creek here, a shakeout, jump, come back and go up. So that's what we kind of want to wait for, this coming down into the extreme, breaking that, taking the money. Take the money, come in on the extreme, and freaking have fun. There you go. Yeah. So the engulfing candle, the only thing I use for it is literally divergence entry. So if you had a divergence and one went this way and one went this way, but it was coming, you know, came down, came up, then it was coming down, you can't just say, okay, this is divergence. You know, this came down and came down like this. How do you take that? Well, you got to take it once that candle gets engulfed with another candle, or maybe has in the next couple of candles has a close above that. And then once this closes, the next opening of the candle is where you take it with stop loss underneath here. So that is what I use, that engulfing candle. The order block And I can demonstrate so many examples in gold, like you wouldn't believe. But order block is always the last candle that gets engulfed with imbalance, or if you want to do 50, 80% of the candle, that's fine. But if you look at this is a random example. I'm just looking at it. Look at that. Last candle that you see that gets engulfed with imbalance in this white candle that engulfs it. That comes directly into this black candle. Okay. It's not that and then that and then 50% of that and then maybe the opening and maybe the wick. Is none of that, right? It's that. That's how you get precise. Right. Oh, another thing I wanted to address. I see a lot of questions that are being asked of me that are like, hey, does it come to the, why does it sometimes come to the middle of imbalance and sometimes it doesn't? And the answer to that, it does not come to the middle of imbalance. It comes to mitigate the order that got forgotten before. So have you ever had something where you have like, let's say, I'm not trying to find an example. Hold on, guys. Hang on. Sorry, my daughter's coming to bed. Going to bed. Let me see if I can find a good example. You never can find it when it's there. All right, USD CAD. This is kind of a good example. Kind of. Right? You see this imbalance, right? It's not a very good example, but kind of a good example. It's gonna prove the point though. Like, people look at structure incorrectly. They look at legs, right? They look at, oh, they don't look at legs, but they look at higher highs and higher lows. For me, the leg is right here that made this low, but people are like, oh, look at this. It's a low, a high, a low, a high, a low. So then people is like, oh, okay, this broke structure, so I'm gonna try to sell from here. So what happened then? You got screwed. Okay, but what do we do after that? We come from the other side into that candle called the breaker. So a lot of times there will be like an order block. Let's say a candle here, and then I'm trying to figure out how to explain it, right? So there'll be like this candle here, and then this giant, like, then we came down. Let's say we're coming down, or coming down, coming down, coming down, and then we went up, we went up, we went up, we went up, and then we all of a sudden have this giant sell-off, and it forms an imbalance, right? Right? It forms an imbalance. And then for some reason, it comes from the other side. When it came down, then it comes back up. It comes from the other side. And everybody says, oh, it hit 50% of imbalance, and then it came down. No, it came up here to tap out of this order. Because when it was coming up, this was the order block that people were looking to get, and they got killed. So they're still in drawdown here. That's why it came from the other side, to mitigate out of this order. Not because it needed to fill 50% of imbalance. No. They only come back to fill imbalance when they need to get out of drawdown. Take profit on their orders. Maybe that was like a breakthrough for someone. I don't know if it was. All right, let's look at AJ and then any other pairs that anyone might have to question for. And I'm done. Okay, so we had a perfect accumulation and divergence, as I pointed out, and then we're just continuing doing nothing today. So we're still in a bullish retracement. I require a schematic right here because this was the candle that led to break of structure. Right, this was that order block that led to this and ultimately to everything else. So I would like for it to come here and create a schematic and sell out of there. All of the indices. Because overall, we're still bullish. So the only way I would sell is with the schematic that is a distribution. Other than that, if we don't keep going there and create a schematic, I'll be looking for a buy because this didn't break the low and we had a high, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. So we expect a higher high. We're in the middle of everything, so I'm not looking for anything until we come to the areas of either where accumulation took place which would be this extreme here under this and under that, all the way at 82.37, right? 82.37. The other extreme I had, I think, is here on 82 even. 82.37, 82 even are two extremes. That's where I'll be looking for a buy. And only a schematic for a sell here, but we're in the middle of everything, so I'm not rushing into trades. I'm okay if I don't get it in a trade here and it breaks and makes a bullish high, then I'll be waiting right over here where the snipe is for my re-entry for a buy. Long play. Okay, let's go over some indices. So indices for me, I am doing every Monday market analysis. Last Monday I didn't because I was half dead. We did the boot camp on Saturday, and I had a lot of people to send the video to, and was just exhausted. Anyway, US 30. Are we at all-time high again? What the hell? We are, aren't we? Sheesh. Okay, so that's all you need to know. We're bullish as hell on US 30, which is absolutely cray-cray. So US 30 and NASDAQ personally in SPX, best time to trade 2 hours after New York Open. So S&P and US 30 are pretty much highest high, they're at their high. But NASDAQ, if you notice, this divergence is crazy on a daily. So if you're looking to trade indexes, I would say sell NASDAQ and buy everything else. The reason there's a fundamental reason why NASDAQ is dying, and that reason is because the government is buying bonds. The government is buying bonds. The tech stocks tank first. Plus, Tesla is crazy, and it drives the stock down or index down a lot because Elon Musk is mental. Tweets a lot, just like Trump. All right. So there is a giant divergence on the daily. Obviously, we don't take trades on the daily. But you know, if there is an engulfing candle right now on the daily, you could pretty much enter on the daily for a sell. Let's go in 4 hours. And by the way, that's what I usually look for on the stocks is divergence entries. Yeah, it's just, man. Okay. So let's go with, which one do you want to do first? All right, fine. Let's go with Dow Jones. Obviously bullish, we just broke structure. So this, by the way, for those of you who don't know the difference between a spring and a terminal shakeout, the terminal shakeout is a spring that is insanely extreme, which is this. So if this is Wyckoff and you were to label this, you know, that's your selling climax, and that's your automatic rally, and that's your ST, that's your UI action, and that's your STV. And that is your terminal shakeout. Spring type number 4. Right, so after that you broke structure and you just coming up. So, you know, there's 2 areas to look for the thing. First, you got a slingshot candle here, and this is sitting at supply and demand. Okay, so I know I'm on 1 hour. Come down. People, come down. Right, so the only way you take a trade here, if when we come back to this place, we make a schematic here, right? Make a schematic, you take an entry. But it would be so awesome. It would be so freaking awesome if we can come here. All right. So pendings over there, schematic either there or over here. So either here or here, you need an accumulation. I need to remember how to look for accumulation. And over here, you can put a pending. Now, this, if you do play both sides, looks really good as a distribution. Right? It does look a lot like distribution. Now we need to wait for an order flow at the very least, order flow shift, which would be after the break of structure to here. So we don't have 3 drives yet. So this would be, let's say, your PS. This is your selling or buying climax. And this is your AR. And this is your ST. However, because we're dying, this looks like accumulation. Right? This already looks like 1 or 2 things, either already a creek coming up here or complex pullback, right? I highly, again, you could, if you're looking at 5 minutes and you're looking to buy from here, I would never buy using a pending here because of a couple of reasons. Even though this is a fractal accumulation right here, very easy to see. Break of the range, come back to the what? Last candle, gets engulfed for the balance over there. Another fractal accumulation there, crazy. So STB, all this stuff. So typically you'll have a spring testing that anyway. But this is like a trap of traps. This is a slingshot candle, nevertheless, so you would expect a schematic here. If you're getting down here during Asia, you could expect a schematic here, but just to me, this looks like a lot of liquidity built to come down. Structure-wise, once again, with the Confluence multi-time frame, to me, this is a very obvious terminal shakeout that did not have a test. And we're waiting for that test. It did break structure, so now we're waiting for the test. And everything in between all of this, we will have a reaction here where I drew a schematic for sure. I don't know if we'll have a reaction. When we'll have a reaction is important. Also, if that reaction is going to lead to break a structure or not. If it's just going to be a small reaction, most likely we keep coming down, and all of this, once this candle gets mitigated, once this becomes all liquidity, right? That's a trap. So this is a perfect area for a buy for US30. For me, if I were putting pendings, I'm going to put the pending before I go to bed right here and hope that London does that or something. But if not, then I'll see what New York does. Okay, let's see NASDAQ. Oh, this is just structure perfection. So with NASDAQ, all you do with NASDAQ from now on is this. You compare it to on 15 minutes. Compare it on 15 minutes to SAP or US30, but I like SAP more for comparison. And once you see a clear divergence, you sell. So we've got a high, and now it's just mumbo jumbo, like you can't see anything. When in doubt, you could switch to the line. And it's just a hot mess. Right, so this is the high. If there's nothing. If we have a higher high and the other one has a higher low, lower high, then you sell. But structure-wise, from all of this, right? We had this, as I drew before. I don't know. I erased it already, right? This was the spring. Now we're reaccumulating again. So would be very nice to see. This is accumulation. Very nice to see NASDAQ come here. If we're doing it right now. For London, NASDAQ to come here, to come higher, and then I really like this area right here. I like this area here too, but not as much. I think all of this is a trap because I see this as a level of support resistance that people will try to sell from. So I think this is an extended redistro kind of. So if we come here now, I would try to look for buys over here. Again, you need a schematic here. You need a schematic here. if you're in a buy and you're holding it, especially, yeah, if you're in a buy and holding it, you could even put a pending here for a sell, but I would wait for a schematic here. Or I definitely put a pending right there, like 100% pending right there. I've seen it so many times, especially on gold and NASDAQ, where it has some kind of news event or something and just goes and comes down. Right, we saw it on FOMC. But would like to see a schematic here during London and start during London session coming up, and would have a pending here. All right, and last one. Ooh. So we're not at all-time high right now. This actually could be a signal of what's going to happen with NASDAQ as well, depending what we do with this one. So we were making lower lows, and then just decided to come up and switch the order flow. Indices also are 90% of the time bullish, so you've got to keep that in mind. So again, currently, they already mitigated out of here. So if we mitigate it, why are we not going down? Because we're accumulating to go even higher, is the answer. So only looking for buys. Very thing that I see here is that and that. So ton of liquidity built up here. So schematic here. Or extreme right here. Okay, extreme pending here. Or a schematic right there. Could also have, yeah, that's about it. Could also have a schematic here, possibly. Why schematic here? Because this is reaccumulation. This has come back to the creek and came out. So we could test the previous accumulation area. So we need a schematic here. Or this is supply and demand here. You can see that this area is where they like to accumulate and distribute. So come to this area and see if we can get an accumulation here again to go up. This is the extreme, which very likely and could be that it will develop some kind of schematic here and have a spring into this extreme to mitigate before they come up. Make sense? Awesome, brothers. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, if I can answer any questions, I can do it now. Otherwise, have a good night and an amazing week. No questions? You're welcome, Mohammed. All right, guys. Happy trading. Take care. Thank you, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate you too.